Oh, we're being videoed, okay. All right, that was just my little joke. Folks, year 12s, great to see you guys. Really strange time we're living in, isn't it? The coronavirus and the health situation. Prince Charles now got it, Boris Johnson got it, the health secretary's got it. So most important, I hope you guys are all obeying the government rules. I know it's really tempting to get out the house and possibly meet up with your friends, but don't do it, folks. Okay, thanks very much for all your feedback on the last little video that I put on YouTube, because I didn't know whether you'd like it or not, but lots of you have emailed and said, could I do another one? So I've given it a little bit of time. Unfortunately, I've still got to do my day job because the last video hasn't quite earned me enough in advertising rights yet to retire from teaching. So hopefully this is the next one that will really make the money. Okay, folks, so I've got a little list of things here. So if I'm just looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes, so hopefully I don't forget anything. Obviously, you're going to get this through Show My Homework and a link there. And anything I put and I talk about now as I waffle on, I will put as a document or a link as you go through that Show My Homework, okay? Obviously, you've got the 2 weeks of work that Miss and I have sent in that first batch, as we called it. So keep working on that. Don't panic if you haven't done it all. Plenty of time yet. That's for next week as well. Excuse me. I thought we'd just touch base with the Zimbardo Stanford Prison Experiment and see where you've got up to. Now, you should have already watched a video on YouTube then, the one that we would have watched in class. Another little good one, again, I'll put it in Show My Homework, but if you go into YouTube and you just type in Stanford Prison Experiment, don't know if you can see that, but you see this guy here, and it's one of the top links. Whoopsie, I've started it. One of the top links, this guy. Okay, so really comprehensive little version of the Stanford Prison Experiment. So have a look at that. I'll just pause that now. Okay, so that's the next thing to do. That's just another really good video about Stanford Prison Experiment. Okay. I thought we'd quickly, now this is going to be a bit awkward because I'm going to kind of keep trying to show you the laptop. Ideally, I was going to try and do this video in school and kind of teach using the projector and stuff, but obviously we're all heavily discouraged from being in school as well and mixing with others when we don't need to for spread of the virus. So on the last the first batch of Show My Homework, just attach this little PowerPoint. Now, I can never work out. To me, that looks backwards in the screen, but I don't know if you see it like that. Anyway, so this little PowerPoint was there, and it just asked you a couple of questions, didn't it? Exam questions. So you had this one. I don't know how well you can see my screen, but basically it says, which two of the following statements about Zimbardo's prison study are correct? And if you press the buttons, well, we can look through, can't we? Nice little 2 marker here, nice little sort of short starter one. That may be better because of the reflection. And hopefully if you went through, you would have seen that, you know, you get A, because the whole point of the Stanford Prison Experiment really is that he was looking at how roles affect people's behavior, the roles of either the guard or the prisoner, and how people carried out those roles. Now, next one's a bit trickier, isn't it? But it's answer E, because behavior is influenced by the loss of identity. Now, this is a concept that we would look at more if we were in school. It's called de-individuation. Strange word, de-individuation. De-individuation is basically a loss of your personal individuality and identity. So for an example, in this study, Stanford Prison Experiment, if you dress people as a guard, you give them mirrored sunglasses and so on, the uniform, then they basically lose some of their normal individuality, and therefore they basically behave a little bit more as the social role they're given rather than as the individual that they normally are. Okay, so that's a little 2 marker there. I'll just go on. Had this question then, didn't we? identify, there's an AO1 bit for you, okay, and briefly discuss 2 reasons why people have criticised Zimbardo's prison study. So you've got some AO3 here as well, because it's an evaluative question asking about, criticism, if you like. Now, any question, you probably remember a bit of this from class, anything where it's 4 marks and above, they don't just go tick, 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 oh, they've made 4 points. Here what they do is they look at your whole answer and they're putting it into these brackets, and you can see, is it a level 1, 2 or 3 answer? So to be the top bracket, you have to have 2 criticisms that are clearly identified, and then you have to have clear and effective discussion of those, okay? And it's got to be coherent and organised. In other words, good, clear writing style at A level, all right? Now, I know I put the mark scheme for you here. You're looking at possible criticisms, things like this, that the ethics, okay, was the study ethical? Then, of course, you're going to get into the discussion about that, the ethics of that, of course, because of the stress or distress that it caused. And then you can get into some of the discussion points about that. Should Zimbardo have done more about that? Could he have prevented it? Did he get proper informed consent? Did he warn them with a full briefing about what the study was about? Okay. The other really big criticism that people often cite is that Zimbardo himself took part in the study. He was the prison superintendent, wasn't he? And therefore he didn't act as a neutral psychologist. He wasn't very objective, and if he had been objective, he would have stood back and said, we need to stop this study. Okay, now, so those are those questions, and I just want to tell you, here we go. Now, what I would like to do, sorry, just get there, I'm going to attach this as well. This question, don't know if you can see that, how clear it is. Sorry, there's a bit of a reflection on the screen, isn't it? But this question basically says, describe and evaluate the procedure of Zimbardo's research into social roles. And now it goes to 8 marks. Describe and evaluate. There you go. AO1, describing, so your knowledge, and evaluate, okay? So it's not far different to that question before, is it? But it's a couple of extra marks, so a couple more detail, or bit more detail really. And it wants a bit about the method as well, doesn't it? Describe and evaluate the procedure. So here you're going to have to know a little bit. How many participants? How did he select them? Okay. How did he separate them into roles? Males and females, was it? Is androcentric, just males, okay? Of course, one advantage here is you can highlight strengths as well. So things like Zimbardo had over 70 applicants, didn't he? And he really wanted to make sure that he got people who were psychologically sound, if you like, psychologically normal, if that's the right word, so that wouldn't be an extraneous variable that would affect his study. Okay, now you don't have to write this answer in full, but I'd quite like you to just do a little bullet point plan. What do you think? 8 marks here? Well, half of a 16 marker. So what are we looking at? 3/4 of a side of writing, 3 paragraphs if you want to put it like that. Maybe the first paragraph is the method, the procedure. The next 2 paragraphs, your evaluation, maybe strengths and weaknesses. Okay? Now in this same document, just for revision purposes, if I just scroll down, is it going to let me do that? No, sorry. Okay, just for a bit of extra, I've also cut and pasted some exam stuff. So a couple of extra questions. Here you'll see one going back to Ash's study, which you've all done now. And I know we've already done some, so there's a little 2 marker for you there. Really, really simple. Okay, and if I keep going down, then we get a question about normative conformity. Okay, so I'm going to attach those as well. Again, folks, have a look at these. You can do them in full if you like. You can email them back to me if you want, but I'm not necessarily looking for you to do that. I'm just looking for you to be aware of the style of question that comes in. Okay, and I've taken these straight off exam questions from real exam papers. All right, so there's that. Okay, now I've been going on for almost 10 minutes, so Dylan, thank you very much, by the way, for your comment on my joke in the last one. So maybe I'll find a little joke in a minute, because it's a difficult time at the moment, isn't it? So we all need to keep a bit of humour, keep each other amused and entertained in these situations. No, the other thing that some of you have been asking by email, folks, is what's the situation with exams? Okay. Now, the key thing here is nobody should be worrying about the Year 12 exams. Okay, it's a very, very strange situation we find ourselves in. And the latest is, of course, is that we are planning exams for you, but they will be virtual or electronic exams. All right. Now, that's not the same as normal exams, is it? You're not in a theatre or a sports hall. You're not sat at a desk in silence. But we are looking at having a program where you will all do the exams at the same time. Don't worry too much about that, because we've still got some logistics to work out. You will get some notification home very soon just about how that will work. One thing I would say, because some of you are saying, what can you revise? What can you start doing? What content, what topics will be in there? Okay. Well, we can't tell you that exactly until we have the exact amount of time that will be given as a subject to examine you. Okay. So if we're given 1 hour, then that's quite a short time. If we're given 3 hours, then we can do more content. Okay. One thing that will always come up in an exam, and we will definitely be testing you on, whether it's as a unique topic or whether it's as a split in, hidden within the other topics, but we'll always try and test you on research methods, because overall research methods is double weighted for your final exams and can slip into lots of the other topics. So one of the things that we would normally leave, and again, apologies, I'm just looking down at my laptop here. One of the things we would normally leave until the end of the year, and for the exams if you're in school, is what we call the 10-minute booklet. Okay. Now, again, I'll attach this on Show My Homework. Okay. And for the moment, I'm going to only attach it for research methods. The 10-minute booklet is a simple idea. Can you find 10 minutes in a day, and just every day, 7 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and so on, can you just do a little bit of extra work, and therefore we call it revision? All right, 10 minutes is easy, isn't it? Remember the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve. Every time we forget something and we put it back in memory, we bring it back up, and we'll forget it, and we bring it back up each time. And every time we go back to it, we need less time compared to when we first learnt it. Okay, so here's a little grid for you. You'll see that this first row is just week 1. So for this next week coming, Monday, Tuesday, and so on, every day, just want you to look at that content there. Okay, if I just read it out, it says looking at research aims, the difference between aims and hypotheses, the idea of hypotheses being directional and non-directional. Okay, different types of variables. What do we mean by the independent, the dependent variable, extraneous variable, confounding variables? Okay, so if you focused on just that bit of content for 1 week solid, you're going to have that absolutely nailed. Even better, of course, if you can get on the AQA website and find some questions, some exam questions, and see, can you test that? So whilst we're waiting to tell you exactly what's in the exam, fantastic if you can just be taking this and you can do it. Now, obviously, we would normally be running 10 minutes a day, but you've got a lot of time on your hands now. Should you be saying, actually, I'm going to do 30 minutes a day. I can do, more than one row of this, and therefore I could push this whole topic out in some revision in, 2-3 weeks. Brilliant. If you do that, you're going to be really ready for the exam with this topic. Okay? Print it out if you like as a little tick box thing. Stick it on your bedroom wall so you can tick every day that you do. Makes you feel good and so on. Okay? So again, that'll be on Show My Homework. Okay? So folks, I hope this is a useful little video. Again, it makes me feel like I'm a little bit more in touch with you rather than just kind of leaving you alone. Remember, as we've said before, we're only an email away. And thank you very much for some of you who've emailed just to check in. That's absolutely fine. And therefore, we stay in touch. Final thing that I would say, guys, remember, all this is proper learning. okay? We're not doing this to fill time. We're not doing it to, kind of just tick boxes. We are preparing you for your real exams in year 13, okay? The harder you work on all this content, the better you make those notes, and as you're going along, you've got time on your side now, make revision resources, flashcards, mind maps, and so on. And the better you do that, aren't you in a fantastic position ready for next year or whenever we return back to school, which may be shorter than we know, who knows, okay? All right, folks, yeah, send this video out to everyone in the world so my advertising rights brings in hundreds of thousands of pounds, but if not, there'll be another one on its way. Okay, by the way, I'm back in school on Monday. I'm rotated for Monday, so I'm aiming possibly to do another little video where I actually kind of do this in the classroom. Might be a bit clearer with a projector and so on, where therefore we could start getting into that bit about obedience and all those sort of terms like agentic state and so on. Okay, folks, keep listening to the government advice. Keep doing what you're meant to. Don't be tempted to meet up with people and so on. Keep healthy. Look forward to hearing from you. Take care.